Hello, you're watching News Mongolia and MNB World. I'm your host, L.Oyun-Erdene. Our top stories. PM L.Oyun-Erdene met with the CEO of Rio Tinto. Third International Chopin Piano Competition held in Ulaanbaatar. 525 COVID-19 cases and 10 additional deaths reported. For other news, stay tuned. Prime Minister of Mongolia L.Oyun-Erdene met with Jakob Stausholm, CEO of Rio Tinto, and other company representatives regarding the Oyu project. During the meeting, the Prime Minister stressed the need to ensure the implementation of Parliament Resolution number 92 issued in 2019 on ensuring Mongolia's interest in the development of the Oyu deposit and to achieve certain results in negotiations.
The Prime Minister noted that Rio Tinto should be held accountable for the delays in the development of Oyu underground mine, that it should finance the project's additional costs, that it should cancel 34% of Mongolia's debt, and that Mongolia should be able to receive dividends from the project. Rio Tinto representatives said that they will focus on the immediate termination of the controversial Dubai Agreement or the Oyu underground mine development and financing plan, and will ensure that the Oyu project is implemented in a mutually beneficial manner that is in the best interest of the Mongolian people. Jakob Stausholm, CEO of Rio Tinto, expressed his readiness to focus on operations in Mongolia and to work together as transparently as possible to take cooperation based on mutual trust to a new level. Prime Minister L.Oyun-Erdene previously held an online meeting with the newly appointed CEO of Rio Tinto in December 2020, when the Prime Minister was serving as the head of the Cabinet Secretariat. Ulaanbaatar, the Minister of Justice and Home Affairs, is currently chairing the government working group established to ensure the implementation of Parliament Resolution number 92.
The Ministry of Health reported today 525 new cases of COVID-19 confirmed today, and 10 more people have died.
The Ministry of Health today on November 23rd has reported that 525 new COVID-19 cases were detected in the past 24 hours after tests were carried out at PCR laboratories across the country. Unfortunately, 10 patients, 5 women and 5 men, all with underlying health conditions, died of COVID-19 complications. All new cases are of domestic transmission, 341 out of which were confirmed in Ulaanbaatar, and the remaining 184 were confirmed in the provinces. 8,127 COVID-19 patients are being treated at hospitals nationwide. Additionally, 15,100 patients are being treated at home. Among the 8,127 COVID-19 patients being treated at hospitals nationwide, 3,099 are showing mild symptoms of illness and 189 are in critical condition. Currently in Mongolia, over 2.25 million people have received their first COVID-19 vaccine dose nationwide, and over 2.14 million have received a second dose of vaccine.
The third International Chopin Piano Competition concluded in Ulaanbaatar on Monday with a gala concert. The competition was carried out in stages over 2 months with participation from around 50 contestants from 8 countries. Winners were announced during the gala.
There are over 60 competitions around the world held in tribute to the renowned Polish pianist Frédéric Chopin. This year, the third edition of Mongolia's International Chopin Piano Competition was held by the Mongolian State Conservatory in collaboration with the Polish Embassy in Ulaanbaatar. The competition also commemorated the 70th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Poland and Mongolia.
We have been honored to receive positive feedback from our international and local supporters for organizing the third edition of the Chopin competition in Mongolia. We are happy to introduce works by Mongolian composers through the competition as well. Also, we are happy that our competition is gaining recognition in Asia. We are planning to host the competition once every 4 years.
The third Chopin competition was held from October 1st to November 22nd in Ulaanbaatar. Due to pandemic restrictions, the competition was organized in a combined online and in-person format for the first time. Around 50 international participants competed this year from 8 countries, including Poland, Germany, Russia, Turkey, Spain, China, South Korea, and Mongolia. The competition jury consisted of international judges. Wojciech Świtała from the Frédéric Chopin Institute in Warsaw was the main judge. During the gala concert held on November 22nd, the winners of the two age categories were announced. The Grand Prix award went to Ulaanbaatar, a graduate of Mongolian State Conservatory who is currently studying in South Korea. The MNB World team had the chance to interview the first and third prize winners in the youth category.
For the competition, I tried to practice smart, not hard. I played on stage for the second round, and it was a bit frightening after the long pandemic hiatus. It was my first major competition. Now I'm more motivated to improve my skills in the future. While I was practicing, I tried to imagine the composer's feelings about the composition and how I can interpret them through my own feelings and present it to listeners. To me, Chopin's compositions are very sentimental. Even his grander works include the elements of tenderness. During practice, I heard a lot about music history and concert experiences from my teacher.
The on and off pandemic lockdowns that continued for 2 years created major challenges for the arts and culture industry in Mongolia. The competition organizers happily noted that they managed to overcome these hardships and continued the country's musical legacy by expanding ties with international organizations.
Thank you for staying tuned with us on MNB World. Now let's take a look at Mongolia's current affairs.
Her Excellency Batsik, Ambassador of Mongolia to the Federative Republic of Brazil, presented a copy of her letter of credence to His Excellency Roberto Collin, Ambassador of the Federative Republic of Brazil to the Republic of Cuba on November 18, and formally assumed her duties. During the meeting, both sides reaffirmed their commitment to further developing friendly relations and cooperation between Mongolia and Brazil, and also stressed the importance of deepening bilateral ties in the areas of agriculture, animal husbandry, trade, business, and education.
The Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Mongolia to Hungary, Baatar, presented his credential to the President of Hungary, János Eder, on November 17th. During the reception for the new Mongolian ambassador, President Eder commended President of Mongolia, Hrustov's national 1 billion trees campaign to combat climate change. The President noted that Hungary is ready to use best practices and initiatives for energy purification and reuse for household use.
The Dairy Asia Secretariat, UNFAO, Ministry of Food, Agriculture and Light Industry of Mongolia, Global Agenda for Sustainable Livestock, International Dairy Federation, and World Yurt Association organized the online Dairy Asia Dialogue Yak Milk Production on November 19th. Representatives and delegates from Bhutan, India, China, Nepal, Mongolia, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Spain, Italy, Switzerland, Norway, Sweden, Belgium, the UK, France, the US, and Chile participated in the online dialogue. The Dairy Asia Dialogue focused on the status of yak husbandry and yak milk production, the challenges of harsh winters combined with droughts, rangeland degradation, water scarcity, declining genetics, milk quality and safety, insufficient technology, poor infrastructure in remote rural areas, limited market opportunities, the generational migration of yak herders to urban lifestyles, and the aging of today's yak herders. As a result of the dialogue, the presenters, speakers, panelists, and participants supported a proposal to establish the World Yak Association in Mongolia.
International scholars and lawyers attended a conference on the topic of legal issues and human rights violations committed during the COVID-19 pandemic. Many of them agreed that fundamental human rights guaranteed by the Constitution have been violated during the pandemic. The legal conference, lawyers discussed the human rights violations caused by COVID-19 restrictions. In particular, it's the start of the pandemic. Mongolia's National Emergency Commission implemented the decision to isolate repatriated citizens for a period of 35 days, which many believe was an abuse of people's constitutional rights. A number of complaints about the length of isolation were sent to the National Human Rights Commission, and 4 cases have made it to the Supreme Court.
According to the Constitution, if human rights are to be altered in any way, an applicable law should be approved or relevant amendments should be made to an existing law. A temporary law on COVID-19 prevention, combating COVID-19, and the mitigation of its socio-economic impact was approved and is enforced until the end of the year. In the law, it was stated that if the rights of citizens are restricted, there should be an adequate reason, and the restriction must be appropriate for the situation and committed to protect the public and the rights and health of others. In addition, it is stated that the restrictions on certain human rights should be made at a minimum level and that there are fundamental human rights that should never be violated.
Since the start of the pandemic, many cases of human rights violations have been recorded all over the world. Discussions at the conference focused on what should be done in the future to avoid violating the human rights guaranteed by the law.
Lawyers and scholars from 8 countries on 4 continents, including Mongolia, Japan, the USA, South Korea, Australia, China, and Estonia, are participating in the conference. It was noted that the pandemic situation has been similar all around the world, and no country has come up with an ideal solution for solving the legal issues caused by the pandemic. In addition to human rights violations, there is also the issue of uncertainty in resuming the normal operations of government functions.
In the past 2 years, 326 complaints of human rights violations related to COVID-19 restrictions were submitted to Mongolia's Human Rights Commission. Now let's check on the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. The regular conference of the Mongolian Students' Sports Federation was successfully held on November 19th at the Gorkh National Park. The conference was attended by more than 70 teachers, students, and administrators from about 30 universities and colleges in central and local provinces.
The regular conference of the Mongolian Students' Sports Federation was successfully held on November 19, 2021 at the Red Rock Resort in Gorkh National Park. More than 70 teachers, students, administrators from about 30 universities and colleges in central and local provinces such as Erkhanga, Bayolgi, Kavalta, Darhol, Dorngo, Ovs, and Hovd provinces participated. Also, leaders of sports associations and organizations participated in the meeting. Baysaglan, President of the Mongolian Olympic Committee, Chief Financial Officer of the International Olympic Committee, Ushuair, Director of Mon Altias, Chairman of the Supervisory Board, presented the report on the activities of the Mongolian Olympic Committee for the period of 2017 through 2021. Jargasakhan, Secretary General of the Mongolian Women's Association, Vice President of the Asian Women's Association, and Hiroga, Director of the Mongolian University of Agriculture and Vice President of the Mongolian Women's Association, discussed and chaired the revised version of the Mongolian Women's Association. In connection with the issues discussed, the delegates actively participated in the general comment and criticism, and 11 resolutions were adopted at the end. Delegates unanimously commended the success of the Mongolian Students' Sports Federation for the period of 2017 through 2021 and set goals for the future. Also, a revised version of the Mongolian Students' Sports Federation's new rule book was discussed and approved. The 8th Congress of the Mongolian Students' Sports Federation was supposed to be held in November 2020, but it was postponed for a year due to the COVID-19. At the end of the conference, the Best Student Athlete of the 2020 award was presented to Holan, who won a gold medal at the 2020 Asian Student Chess Championships, and Shurentsig, a student of Ulaanbaatar College, who won a silver medal at the 2021 Asian Cheerleading Competition, was awarded the title of the Best Student Athlete of the 2021.
Now here's the weather forecast for major cities around the world. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for staying tuned with us on MNB World. See you tomorrow with more stories and updates. Have a great evening. Goodbye.